Hey guys, it's time for a special little treat. Welcome, foolish mortals. And now I feel stupid saying that, but that's okay because it is all about my favorite ride, Disney's Haunted Mansion. It has been my favorite ride since, oh gosh, since I was like little. And I have been a fan of the ride. I have been a fan of the Eddie Murphy movie that came out a while back. I have not seen the new one. I have mixed feelings about it. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but I'm sure that once it gets to streaming on Disney Plus, I will be watching it just like I have watched almost everything with the Haunted Mansion. I don't know what it is about that ride. I just love it. I think it's spooky, but it's fun at the same time, and there was just this great little mixture of it being just enough to make you uneasy, fascinating with the sculptures that seem to move and the pictures that change and all the little optical illusions, but still fun. So with that being said, I wanted to do a special little reading vlog because I did not know there are books about the Haunted Mansion. I only have books 2 and 3, but I decided that while I was going to read them in August for some other readathons, I would do my own special little video giving them a little bit of tribute, plus a small little surprise to come your way. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first book that I read, although this is volume 2 in the series. This is Midnight at Madame Leota's, as you can see, Haunted Mansion. This is written by the mansion librarian, Amicus Arcane. However, it does say in here that it's transcribed by John Esposito. So this is supposedly the librarian of the mansion that keeps records on all the 999 grinning ghosts that happen to haunt the Haunted Mansion. In this story, we have a gentleman who has lost his sister. It is his sister's birthday, and he has been trying to communicate with her spirit. And he's been finding that all the mediums and people that he has gone to see are nothing but fakes. So he's kind of losing hope. He goes to the cemetery where his sister is buried, and he happens upon a gentleman who tells him to go to the mansion, and miraculously the mansion appears at the hillside to the cemetery. He goes in there in hopes of meeting the wonderful Madame Leota, who might be able to help him. I was expecting a lot more of Madame Leota in this, to be honest, considering it's Midnight at Madame Leota's, but she really is talked about for maybe 4 pages or something scattered throughout the book, and she really only makes her presence known on like 2 or 3 pages. So you're talking a 200 and something page book, and she's really not present in here. What this really was you have the overstory or the main story of the brother trying to communicate with his sister, and then you have Amicus Arcane, the librarian, telling him these other stories pretty much about the other spirits that haunt it, but they really had no real relevance. I didn't feel a lot of relevance to the main story. So this one for me was a low 2-star. Just because I'm like, I wanted it to be at Madame Leota's. I wanted him to be communicating with Madame Leota, or maybe tell us Madame Leota's story and how she ends up the way she does in the ride. But it doesn't really do that for us. It was just, like I said, just a bunch of kind of scary stories. It does have some like illustrations in there as well. But yeah, it wasn't really what I wanted. Even the main story seemed to only take up a small little tiny part of it versus the short stories that are kind of in there. So it's more of a collection of short stories. So I decided to take a little bit of break for a special little surprise. I ended up getting the Haunted Mansion Lego set that came out to create my own mini Haunted Mansion set. Actually, I should mention that it wasn't me that I got it. It was a gift from my husband because he knows I love the ride. So he surprised me with it as a little kind of birthday teaser for me. So I went ahead and assembled it. And while I am not the greatest at maneuvering the camera so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, I did my best to kind of show you how it went. So here you go. Welcome back. So as you can see, it is complete. It is super, super cute. You have the little butler here. You have the side with the windows here. These were probably the most parts to make of the whole thing. You go around to this side and you have the cute little steeple and all the chimneys at the top. And then in the back, you have that wonderful little sneak peek. You have the little ghost pictures back there. You've got the candelabra. Whoops, that's one of my books falling. The candelabra that actually does swing a little bit, I believe. I don't want to mess with it too much because then I'll break it. But it does kind of move around a little bit. And then you have kind of their little ballroom scene with some little ghostly figures there. As my butler falls off. But yeah, like it came out super cute, and I love it. So I now have my very own little haunted mansion. So moving on, I decided to get volume 3, hoping maybe this would be a little bit different. And that was The Grim Grinning Ghosts. And in this one, also told by the librarian Amicus Arcane, you have 3 people that one has just escaped, well, been released from prison. And he kind of gets back in it with 2 of his friends to deliver some packages, some big shipping crates to this mansion. And he wants in, he's like, oh, well, it's a mansion. Maybe we can steal some things. So him and his friends go and they think they're going to do this. But as they get closer and closer, 2 of the friends are starting to kind of chicken out while I think his name is Declan is the main guy, wants to keep going. So they go and they meet up with the librarian. And once again, you have the main story of these 3 trying to deliver these crates. And then you have the short stories. However, in this one, the short stories pertain to what is being delivered in the crates. So I felt like this one tied together a little bit more between the main story and the short stories that you were hearing. There's one about I think this one has the mummy in it. It has a piano and it has one of the doors. So it also tied it into the ride a little bit more, where I felt like this one really didn't. This one you had, the brother does try to escape and he ends up in the attic with the bride. So that was the only tie-in to the ride really on this. And then the birthday party, which was kind of part of the ballroom scene in the mansion. So those were the kind of scenes that were covered in this one. This one kind of covered a little bit more and it tied in better. But that being said, once again, not exactly what I was thinking. This one is still a 2-star, but it's a little bit higher of a 2-star, probably like a 2.5, 2.7 if I really got into it. But sadly, these just weren't what I was thinking they were going to be. I wanted more about the actual mansion. I get what they were trying to do, but these kind of came across more as those scary stories, or the super scary stories that you used to be able to get in like the Scholastic book sales that you would get at, you know, elementary school, middle school. These, I don't think I would recommend these for, I would definitely not recommend them for elementary school. Maybe like 8th grade through like freshman or sophomore year, because while the stories themselves are kind of juvenile, there's a lot of kind of macabre things in here. Like you have a kind of almost treasure map or a map written on human skin. You have somebody who is cutting off their own ears. So I'm like, there are a lot of like kind of factors for somebody that, you know, is in elementary school or early middle school. So I would recommend these for like a little bit of an older child, not so much, you know, a kid. I wouldn't say these are particularly kid friendly. And I don't know if they were written for kids, for teens, or for adults who just love the ride. So I was a little disappointed in the books, to say the least. Like I said, 2 stars for each of these. I was hoping for a little bit more because they just seemed like so much like fun to get into, but I was really pushing myself to kind of read these just because I really didn't care particularly as much as to what was going on or how it was going on. I saw the cute kind of tie-ins for the ride, and then they did try to do like the welcome foolish mortals and how like the house or whoever it is kind of talks to you on the ride. So I did kind of appreciate that, but it just wasn't enough for me. So I would say the best part about this little mini video is my own little Lego mansion, my very own little Lego mansion that I can now keep in here in my little library with, you know what, we're just gonna go ahead and call this little butler dude, we're gonna call him Amicus, because apparently if that is the name of the librarian and he's kind of like maybe a butler type, we're gonna go ahead and go with that. So now I have my own little haunted mansion with my very own little Amicus Arcane, and I love that part. So I guess went for a little bit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, a like. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so because it helps my channel grow. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Happy haunts.